All right, we are live. It is January 4th. Unbelievable. 2022. Here we are. And we were just, saying hello to some of our dearest members that have been absent for a while. So Patricia's back with us, and she was sharing her faith in our program and in how much she enjoys it. So we're really excited to have you back here. We have Susan with us today. Hey, Susan, with her camera on. Great to see you. Mindy's here. Glad you can make it, Mindy. It was really great to talk with you yesterday. Sarah's here. Wonderful, Sarah. I missed you. Good to see you. Scott, the wonderful Scott, is here. Scott Kelly. Welcome, Scott. Anne is here. Welcome, Anne. Great to see you. And we have Carol. Hi, Carol. Nice to meet you. Good to see you. Catherine is here. Good to see you again, Catherine. And I have Sam Bennett, not exactly sure how to say that right. And Simon, welcome, Simon. Good to see you. Oh, there's our other Scott. Scott Barker's here. Good to see Scott. It's 5 a.m. for him. So we're really excited that you keep on joining. Hot air balloons today. Wow, that goes with a theme that I just taught in a different class. I wonder if I should change what I'm thinking about talking about. All right, we got Zoom user. I don't recognize you, but if you want to change your name so that I can say hi, you can. Deborah's here. Hey, Deborah. Did you get a new hairstyle or is that a hat? What is going on there? It's a hat. Okay, I see. Okay, great. Bridget, great to see you. Hi, nice to meet you. Welcome to our calls. Jewel is here and Jay. Oh, there's Jewel. Okay, I do remember the name Jewel. Elizabeth is here, our wonderful Elizabeth. Jen and Amber. We got Alec Martinez camera off today. That's okay. Gail is here. And we got Joseph and Sibu and Rima and Jamie and Christina and Thomas and many more. Nadea, how are you, Nadea? Joining as we speak. And, it was just a wonderful way to enter into this call is just by seeing someone that's dear to us and then hearing how, she has missed our calls and just her whole experience. It was really uplifting for the beginning of our meetup, and just to hear that she's okay and that she's here, it really just shows that we generally do care about each other. And that's kind of what she was explaining there, that we are here to help you out. We're not going to do the things for you, of course, but to encourage and to help you and to make sure that you are safe and okay. That's definitely something that we as a community want to embrace you wherever you are in your lifetime. And these calls, they are really a safe space to share. How do I know Patricia so well? We've never met up, but Patricia shares. She speaks up and she shares, and I know a lot about her lifetime and what she's doing, what she's going through, and how she's overcoming. And so it creates this real connection that is, when we don't see each other, we feel that something is missing. And so that's what these calls are here to do, to give you that sense of, you can do this, and maybe even to look into your life and see what needs to be shifted and changed today in order to empower you into the new future that you want to create. Because we know that if we keep on doing the same thing that we've done our whole life, we're going to keep on getting the same results. That's the truth of the matter. We have to change something. We have to, create a new us, a new you, in order to really create the dreams and the reality that we want to see in our lifetime. And that's what we're here to do. Very simple, right? So super easy, really quickly, by a flip of a switch. And here we are. No, I'm kidding. But we read a lot of books together. And yesterday I was on a couple of calls with some students and thinking about this new year, 2022. And we had a lot of wonderful discussions last week about what we're bringing in, what we're leaving behind, what we're about to create in this new year. And part of my discussion with one of the students yesterday was about decision making, right? How do we make decisions? And part of the frustration was that the students expressed that they don't tend to make decisions so quickly. And it takes some time, and they want to kind of see. And it's interesting because, as I was listening to the student talk, we've lived a full life, right? I mean, I'm 40 some. I know some of you are even above that. And we've all experienced how our life goes when we keep on going, just the same idea. If we keep on going with the same set of patterns and the way that we've always done things, and the way that we've always evaluated and chose things, and that we will come up with the same results that we've always had. And the beginning of the call, the student expressed the real need for some change, like wanting to create this stream of income, really wanting to see the growth, wanting to leave the job, and all the things that I'm sure many of you can relate to and why you've joined the low hanging system. However, being willing to make this shift, to make this change, to create something new, to take that leap of faith was somewhat of a hesitant matter. And I thought this would be interesting for us to explore because, and a lot of our books, by the way, talk about this. Minnie and I were talking about Secrets of a Millionaire's Mind, and Secrets of a Millionaire's Mind talks about, how rich people focus on opportunities versus poor people focusing on obstacles. And so what are these opportunities? 2022 is here. It's here. We're in it. We're living it. January 4th, we said at the beginning of the call. So we're already in it. And a new year is such a fantastic time to realize these new opportunities. And now it's about, okay, now we see these opportunities. We need to evaluate, are they an obstacle? Is it a hurdle that you need to pass over? Is it something that you need to figure out, right? Those are kind of the words that we use when we want to stall, right? When we don't want to make it, we don't make a decision quickly. We want to stall. Well, let's just see. Let's wait and see. Let's see how things go. I'm not sure. Those kinds of words, right? And we can kind of see those patterns in our lifetime when we look at different opportunities that came our way and how we chose to embrace them or didn't. And that's okay, by the way. Choosing yes or no is okay. You can choose either yes or no. Those are definitive answers, and those are great. That means that you've weighed all the options and you said either yes or you said no, and it was definitive and you knew it. The ones that are the ones that we need to be aware of, both of them, are the ones where we're stalling, where it's just like, well, let's see, let's wait and see. I'm not sure. Maybe this and that will come my way, or maybe I'll wait until, or something. You're waiting for something to happen in order to act. Those kinds of thoughts and those kinds of actions are not productive, right? We often give ourselves these excuses. What if it's not going to work, right? What if it's, not going to happen? Or I hope this is going to turn out, or I hope this will, show me the results that that I'm really banking on. But here, if we can stop on that one, even, what's going to determine the results? What's going to determine the results? You will determine the results, right? Your participation, your interactivity or interaction with the system, with what you need to do, that's going to determine the results. So if we put ourselves on this pause action, I'm waiting for something to happen in order to see, then we're not really moving forward. We're not really engaging. We're not really participating. We're on this pause button. Maybe we do things at the pace that we feel comfortable with, or some pace that we've always moved at. However, again, we come back to that notion. If we keep on doing the same things at the same pace over and over again, we are going to come up with the same results, right? One of those, I think we talked about it with Scott last time, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, but expecting different results, right? So if we keep on doing the same thing and the same thing, how can we expect to generate a different kind of income? How can we expect to generate different results? And so there is always going to be some kind of risk with a new endeavor, be it financial, right? Those are ones that we can always weigh. We can put them on a graph and kind of highlight and say, okay, I have this amount coming in, this amount coming in. We can work with the numbers. It's not always numbers. It could be your time. It could be your energy. It could be something vulnerable that you put on the line on risk when you accept this new offer or go out on a new venture. It could be your health. Patricia was talking about all kinds of health things that came her way. So it could be all kinds of different things that might show up for us as these risks. However, taking the risk, assuming the risk, and acting on it that is, that is what is going to propel you forward. That is what's going to create a change. And I'm not saying to anyone here, go out and put your life at risk, stand in the middle of a highway and wave a flag. No, definitely not. We're not definitely not encouraging any of that. I'm glad that some of you are laughing, right? So you just want to put things into proportion. We're not risking our lives in any way. There is where our moral compass comes into play. And we know that we're not going to harm others. We're not going to harm ourselves. But we understand, thanks, Patricia. We understand, that we might be putting other things at risk. So, and these things we can value them, our time that we dedicate to the people that we love, our core values, right? If we value something and we put ourselves out there, and then somebody kind of gives us this door in the face, slams a door in our face, and we're like, oh, we're shocked. And then we took that blow. So there are definitely other things that we can put at risk. Money, of course, we mentioned, that's one of those that is going to come up a lot for us in lives, right? And there are some risks that we're used to taking, right? We take a mortgage, and when we take a risk on a lot of money. Mortgages can be $500,000, million, $2 million. I mean, they can be high. They can be lowered, 100, 200, right? But they can be high. But we assume that risk pretty well. It's something that is very accepted. We actually triumph on that one, right? We go and celebrate. I bought a house. Now I own this property. And it seems like, wow, you feel better for now being at risk with $500,000 or $3 million. And that's an interesting one to play with, because when we go and a car is an easier one to understand, right? Because that's less money. Anywhere between $20,000 to $80,000 we could spend on a car and a vehicle. And that's something that we say, well, I assume this risk with, I need to get around. I need to transport my children. I need to participate in this life. And the way that we participate now in this time is with a car. I mean, some people, maybe you live in cities and you can get around without a vehicle. But for us in Texas, Patricia knows, we need a car. There are no sidewalks in most of the places. Like literally, they just don't want. That was one of the weirdest things, by the way, for me moving from Israel. You can walk everywhere in Israel. I mean, not on a highway, of course, but you can walk everywhere. But in Texas, no, no sidewalks. Maybe in between the stores. They just don't want you. I guess they don't want you walking around. Austin is pretty nice downtown to walk around, but anyways, not in the suburbs. And so got it sidetracked there. We're talking about vehicle. Okay. So the vehicle idea of assuming the risk, right, of this vehicle and accepting it with almost, glee. When we get a new car, we celebrate that. We're like, wow, I got this new, my friend here got the new Bronco, right? So she's like, wow, I got this new Bronco and it just came out and people don't have it, blah, blah. How much was that risk for her, right? It's around the 50,000, I want to think, maybe even more. I didn't ask, but it's high up there. But it's a celebration. And it's interesting because, here in our low-hanging system, we assumed a little bit of risk, right? We paid some money, and we're like, okay, now we can start generating this new stream of income. And then, some of you have already been presented with this idea of the launch 100. And that's kind of where, okay, we pause a moment. We say, okay, are we willing to take this next leap of faith? Are we willing to really accelerate and move faster and work with someone who can give us their wisdom, their knowledge, and really shine the way? And so we have to say, and this is something that also, again, with T. Harv Eker, he says, to succeed financially, you have to do something, you have to buy something, you have to start something, you have to get something. Actually, one of the students that just signed up yesterday said, I know that in order to make money, I need to spend money. So regardless if you join or don't join the program, you're going to have little things that come up for you, like another software or another, fee for Amazon, that thing. So it's always going to be this cycle of money coming in, money coming out. What we can change, what we can observe, let's first observe it before we decide to change it, right, is our attitude towards it. So you're presented with this new opportunity, right? We said yes or no is awesome. We can say that. We can decide it. It's either yes or no. But what are you doing to yourself internally? And how are you viewing this new opportunity coming your way? And I gave examples from low hanging, but we don't have to take examples from low hanging. We're in this new year. So many new opportunities can come your way. Travel, family coming to visit, a new job that comes your way, a new business venture that somebody's, offering you. And then you need to make that decision. Is it a yes or is it a no? How do you do that? Check in with your core values and see if it aligns. Check in with your goal. Does it lead you towards your goal? Is it going to really help you pave the path towards the goal that you set? And hopefully you all set them in 2022. We were before the new year entered, we set our goals. We knew what we're putting in our backpack and taking with us and launching forward, right? We had that rocket booster analogy, Scott. And so, now we know. So when we're faced with a decision, this is why it's really easy for rich people to make these decisions, because they're and that's very generally speaking. This is also how he does it, T.R. Ecker, very generally speaking. But you know where you're headed. You know what you want to create in your lifetime. You know what your goal is. Making those decisions should be crystal clear and easy. Successful people make choices quickly and stick with them. And then, on the other end of that, you can stall forever and ever and ever and not make decisions or change your mind frequently. I've already struck a chord with Deborah. This is good. And so, yeah, this is where I open the conversation with you here. And it's about, how are we approaching these new opportunities? How are we approaching these new ventures coming our way? And again, it can be general. It doesn't have to be related exactly to this business, but can you begin to see in this new year that these are new opportunities? They're not obstacles, they're not hurdles, they're not something that we need to pause and wait and see. It is going to be either yes or no. Does this align or does this not align? Am I ready to shift, change directions from where I was always, from those patterns, those kind of, stuck patterns that we get into? It's very comfortable there. I'll tell you, that's why it's really alluring. It's this really comfortable couch-like space where we can just lounge and lay and feel very safe and very familiar. It's very familiar. And we really like familiar as human beings. We like that comfort zone space. But here in this new year, Fisher says yes. So in this new year, in this 2022, what a magical number that's coming, that's here. We're in it. Can we now decide, take that leap of faith and really decide to take action for you, for your goals, for what you've set for yourself and for your family? Deborah, let's hear what you have to add to this.
Well, you just about stole all my thunder, so I'll just go through it again. but I can understand when you get in a business like this, is the invisibility of this business. It's not like open up a cupcake store or a bakery and you're going to sit and say, oh, let's see. I'll see if somebody shows up. And if somebody shows up, I'm going to fire up the ovens and get the icing going and things. It's not like that. So the indecision sometimes can come because of invisibility of this business. But business is business. You have goals, you have plans, and you have to follow through with those things. Whether they work out on the first plan, you had another plan to counteract that. And I also think once you make a decision, I've always said when I taught courses in leadership, is that the worst thing in the world is not to make a decision.
Yes.
But once you make the decision, you have now an investment to feed that decision. And it may not always be good, but it will always be a decision you made. And if it doesn't work out, then you make another plan and go forward. So I had the offer to go to the Launch 100. I didn't meet the criteria. And, deep down inside, I'm glad I didn't, because it forces me to go through the steps by steps without the boost of help. So I understand how some people may be thinking, but with it being invisible, you don't have anything tangible there to touch. You don't have a mechanic shop where you're going in and looking at a carburetor, you're looking at the engine and things. You have to come up and make sure that your creativity and your time and your monetary investment is worth your investment of making that decision. And so I'm happy to stay to my plan. I think if you've got a plan, if you don't, you need to make one and work that plan. If it doesn't work another one that's going to come out to benefit your decision. That's all I say.
Love it. I love it. And I like your terminology of like invisibility. because I think that that's one of the biggest even illusions of our lifetime, right? We're so used to looking at the visible. I mentioned car, house, shirt, earrings, whatever it may be. We're used to focusing our attention on that. Whereas around us, there's so much more of the invisible. There's so much more. Even if you just look at the space that you're in right now, the air that's around you is so much larger than whatever you hold in the content of your space. So much more. And so being able to honor that idea of invisibility, and that is part of our growth, that we need to even anchor into that we need to feed off of that, of what we don't see, of what is not apparent in the beginning. And then with that, once we anchor into that and we can project our thoughts, you said, I stole your thunder. So maybe, it's like that idea of, even sharing the thoughts, sharing the ideas, being on the same wavelength, communicating beyond my tone of voice, my speech, and what, Deborah was saying. There is more to that. And it's the same thing with our business. So yes, there is that part of invisibility, but can we anchor into that invisibility and use it to our advantage? It's because of the invisibility that we are limitless in this business. We can post, and Mindy was saying, I have 700 designs yesterday. She's like, wow, so many, and just getting started. But we can post millions of designs up there. You understand? There's no limit to it because of this, not in spite of, not, oh my goodness, oh, there's a hurdle. Oh, you mentioned a cupcake shop or a car shop where things are very tangible. You can pick it up and hold it. Whereas our business, it's not that kind of thing. And because of that, we don't have to spend millions and hundreds of thousands on inventory. We don't have to pay, hundreds of thousands a year on rent. We have it actually presents itself as an opportunity. So thank you so much, Deborah, for sharing your perspective on that, and even your journey, and that you are in the midst of things and taking it forward every day, which is really, really awesome. Scott, love to hear from you, your hot air balloons.
Yes, me and my hot air balloons, full of hot air. That's all right. Interesting. What I'm picking up on is that this hesitancy in making a decision. I think when I heard you talk about that, it relates to a friend of mine. I just found out recently that he's divorced, which I didn't know about. But I went to see him, and I noticed his mindset is still very much stuck in this is what I am, this is what I do. And his world is basically going in a vortex not in a good way. And the first thing, one of the first things I asked him is, okay, well, what goals do you have? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to do? There is no goal. It's just to survive, just to exist. And I could tell from that there are two things in him that I noticed very powerfully, and it relates to what's happening, what you're talking about here. His self-concept was stuck, and his lack of goals was almost numbing. He says, well, all I do each day, I go to work, come back from work, I watch television, feed the dog. That's it. That's my life. That's not a life. And I tried as I could to say, okay, well, what sort of things do you love to do? It doesn't matter what it is. Set a goal. Anything. It doesn't matter. It's better than nothing. If it's just to get fit, if it's just to, learn anything. Oh no, but no. The mind was just turned away from anything other than this self-concept, which was not serving him. And I found it very debilitating. And I know until he breaks from that, he's not going to move ahead. And you can tell, and I notice when people are hesitant about making a decision, excuse me, in the same way, often it relates to a fixation upon who they are and what their goals are, and there's comfort in that, but there's no future in it, and that's the problem. And often they think, well, this is who I am, and it's never going to change. But who I am is not a solid concept. It's very flexible, and people don't realize that they have so much freedom in determining who and what they are as a person, and it relates to their self-concept in terms of what they can achieve, and also in terms of how they can frame their goals. So I still think self-concept and a focused goal is the key to my friends getting out of his rut, but it's also the key to what we're doing here as well. I noticed there's one lady who has a TikTok account, and she talks to a lot of people about their relationships and so forth. And one thing I noticed she talks about hugely, and which a lot of people resonate with in her group, self-concept. They say, work on your self-concept, work on your self-concept. It's 90% of what happens to you. So work on your self-concept. And the people who do just report amazing changes in their lives, not only within themselves, but in the relationships and what happens in the real world around them. So much comes from the self-concept. And the decision hesitancy, I'm sure, would come from self-concept as well as focused on the goal. Now, the amount of focus they have on the goal. So I think those need to be the priorities: the self-concept and the goal. Nothing else really matters because everything flows from those. I'm absolutely convinced of it. That's my thought.
Oh, Scott, awesome. And I'm just going to say, it feels like your friend was presented to you as an opportunity to really explore everything that you're going through and speaking about on a daily basis. It's like a mirror. You're able to see, oh, this is what it looks like when you don't think about, when you don't set a goal, where you don't, move with anything that inspires you, where it's just this kind of routine of to work, back home, feed your dog. You kind of said that kind of loop. And it really is so easy to get stuck in these loops. And we think that that's what reality is about. This is what it's about. We grew up, we got married. He said he got divorced, had children, whatever, went, got a job, got a house, got that, and come back. And like, that's what it's about. No, not really. It's about realizing your goals and your dreams. It's about being in tune with yourself. And, you talked about self-concept, and that's exactly what we do here. We work on our own self-concept and how we're from that space visualizing the world and our business in particular, because it's all going to come from what you know inside is what you're going to know outside. It's what you're going to project. It's what you're going to draw into you. It's everything tied into one. So that was, I think, a beautiful, if I can call it beautiful, but you know what I mean? A moment for you to be able to see and maybe even acknowledge the shift that you've made. Sometimes we need to see the other end of that in order to remember, right? Patricia was talking about how, being detached from us really took a toll on her and she could feel it. So even just that, sometimes we need just to remember and to acknowledge and to appreciate and to see. And I know you appreciate, Patricia, I'm just saying. And so, we get these opportunities in life versus seeing it as, oh, I got to meet up with this friend and he's so far from where I am. And how can we even communicate and discuss? Instead of that, be it like, wow, now I can see even more clear. Now I see what so many people, are how they're living their lives. And maybe through that understanding, I can now provide more assistance. I can be more clear on my journey and that kind of thing. So I think it was really a wonderful opportunity. Alana, great to see your hand up today. I'm really excited to hear from you.
Hi, Karen.
Hi.
I was just listening to what you guys were talking about with the invisible or versus like having things to grasp as far as your goals. And when I was going through the lead up to the launch program, I really enjoyed the old video that they posted about Earl. He was like in the golden age, talking about the strangest secret. And one of the things he said to do is to make a card and call it your 30-day challenge and write down something very specific that you want to accomplish in a month. And on the other side, he had like a scripture that, ask and it shall be given to you, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be opened. And so I think that's a way to make your goals tangible, because you can just pick up a little piece of paper and look at it every day and make sure you remind yourself what you're going after, in addition to working on the self-development to help you accomplish that.
Love it. I love it. I'm so happy you enjoyed that activity, and it really is a vital part, and it really leads up to everything that we talk about. I recently just created vision boards with my daughter for the new year, and it's awesome to see how she makes things and how I make things and her visions and her dreams and how and how everything matches up, and it's really an amazing process. We're still putting some things up there, so really special. So there are different ways to do that. You can do it like you said, just write a goal and put some words on the back. You can create a vision board. You can journal. You can sit in meditation in the morning. It's all of these things to really get super clear. Speak it into being, right? That's another great way of doing it. Saying affirmation, reminding yourselves. So that's a wonderful share. Thank you so much for speaking up, Alana. I hope I hear more from you. Patricia, the fabulous Patricia. Thank you.
Hi. Well, I had one thing to say, but now I got three little things to say. First of all, to you, Karen, honey, I missed you a lot. I missed your spirit more than anything. You have the most, you have a bright light shining around you that opens everybody up and gives us, or gives me the will to go on and will to search and learn and grow. And I really appreciate that. So thank you. And I wanted to remember to thank you about that and tell you that, because it really does mean a difference every day when I come in and I listen to you. Deborah, to you, when Karen was talking and you said she had stole your thunder, no, she didn't, honey, because people can say the exact same thing, but in different ways. And what Karen was saying, I was sitting there scratching my head going, I'm not really sure. And then you came up and it was like, oh, wow, now I understand. So then I had to write it all down over my little sheet of paper over here. Where's my little notes here? Because there was something I wanted to say. Meditation, Karen. I always told you I don't do meditation. I come here. My brother is having a hard time, and he called me and he was telling me that his doctor has decided that he has really bad PTSD. And so he gave me a test that the doctor gave him to take. And he said, don't just answer the questions, meditate over them. And I'm like, I don't meditate. David said, do it anyway. We're both very forceful people. But anyway, I did. And I sat down, and over about a 3-day period, I thought about this one question. And I thought, well, if that's not meditation, I don't know what is, because I was trying to decide what was real and what was hogwash that my brain was trying to say, So anyway, okay, now, where was it that I was? Oh, yeah, adrenaline. A lot of people, let's go back to the making decisions. I've been an adrenaline junkie all my life. So I never had a problem in making a decision. Whether it was right or wrong, I made it because I didn't have time. I rode cross-country bikes before it was cross-country stuff. I mean, we went out in the woods and just head on. And if you didn't think right, or if you didn't make a decision, you were either running into a ditch, running into a rock, hitting a tree, hitting an animal, whatever. You have to make a decision right then, split second. And more and more I did all my life was like that, including being a helicopter pilot and a plane pilot. When you have an emergency, you don't have time to go, oh gosh, what do I do now? You just do it. You start getting what they call a rote memory. It's back here. You know what you got to do. Just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. And so all this stuff that we're learning from you, it's not stuff, but knowledge that we're learning from you, Karen, and from everybody else in here, I'm trying to make that rote memory. Yesterday, I said that I have no trouble or problems motivating other people. In fact, I've been a motivation coach and everything in the military, helping people get excited and learn and want to do, but motivating myself, I don't know why I'm having that trouble now. I guess because I'm getting older and things don't work as well as they used to, and it makes me mad. But I had to sit back and think of that the last 3 weeks, that I have to take all the things that don't work as well as they used to, put them aside and say, okay, what can I do now to supplement those areas to take the place and fix everything that needs to be done? So that's what I've been trying to work on. But don't be afraid to make a decision, whether it's right or wrong. If it's wrong, say, well, darn it, and go on and redo it again, If you've never been a meditation junkie, maybe if you've had a child and your child is being bit by a dog, do you pick up a stick and go attack the dog? Do you do like I do and grab the dog around the neck and pull him off the child? You know, what do? You do what you have to do. Yeah, I got bit. It was, I didn't care that the child got away. But anyway, I mean, you don't think when you're in adrenaline situations like that. You just do. So when you're in this situation, yeah, think it through, make sure you know what you're doing, but don't sit there and dwell for days and weeks. Make a decision and go on. If it's not the right one, go back and change it. Nothing that we have in this company is life-threatening.
No.
You know, I mean, anything can be changed, you know. And what was my last little thing? I'm sorry, I'm taking up a lot of time. Oh, here's my problem that I need help with. Everybody says have a goal. I have tried that all my life, and I can do short-term goals, but thinking of long-term goals, I'm like, okay, well, I know what I want to do, but to have a plan to get there, I never have done that, and I don't know how to do it. So if anybody has any advice for that, I would really appreciate it. But thank you for letting me talk and for letting me come back. It's nice to be here again.
Yes, thanks for coming back. We've missed you. Thank you for
Thank you.
acknowledging me. It was super sweet in the beginning. I appreciate that. And I've missed you dearly. And then
Thank
you
you.
also, I love the way that you present things from your lifetime. You gave us another way of looking at meditation, where you focused on one thing for a very long time, which is what we're asking to do. You know, in meditation, you're focusing on your breath, you're sitting quietly. But even asking those questions, meditating on a question, waiting for the answer to come to you, being sure of that answer, that kind of thing, that is another form that maybe other people will relate to better. It doesn't have to be that quiet sitting and, you know, just kind of closing your eyes and waiting. There are different ways. Being active, you once said, coming onto these calls and stuff like that. And I love how your analogy to, you know, moving fast, making a decision, you know, adrenaline junkie, just kind of getting at it, you know, and that's, you know, it moved you through life so much. Look at all the things you accomplished. Every time you mention one more thing and one more thing, and I'm like, whoa, she did that too. She did that too. She did that too. And it's like, wow. And now you kind of said, I'm not sure what my goal is, but I don't think that that is true, because I've heard you talk about these different goals. You had said, I want Steve, I believe, to not go out to work, that he can stay at home the whole time, that I can make money enough. So you know your goals, write them out so that you don't, you know, give yourself that illusion like you don't know, because there is a certain number that will afford that he can stay at home and that you can do your thing. And that, I think you said once, you want to travel to different places and do things, you know, in a certain way. So you can put that all up into a number and put it on a piece of paper. Let's say it's $1 million. And once you know that, right, the way that we do it on the business strategy session, and I know you've been on a business strategy session, we go from the goal backwards. And so if you're using just this algorithm of the low-hanging system, what you would do is, let's say you would say, you know, by this point, I know you're selling more things than mugs. So you could even take an average of, you know, what is your average sale? Usually in the business strategy session, I'll use the number 20, right? Because that's an average mug sale. So you'll use your average sale of what you're selling. How many sales do you need to make in order to put $1 million in your pocket? How many sales do you need to make in order to put $100,000 in your pocket? Whatever the number is that you've set on that goal sheet, that's how you break it down. And once you have the number per day, then you start taking action on that. Okay, well, if I need 10 sales a day, then I have to have at least X amount of products up there, right? Hundreds of products up there. In order to get that, I need to make sure that I'm keeping my store updated, that I'm working towards this, that I'm doing these actions. You know, you already know when you focus on just the one, and you've worked with coaches. I know that you have a lot of insight on how that's gonna look. You start breaking it down to what is required from you every day. How many hours in front of the computer does it take you to get to that number of items uploaded in a day? How many, you know, maybe it's for you, it's minutes. Do you need a virtual assistant? Do you need extra help? Whatever, right? You have that on your plan. So you see, you're dreaming big. And I say, shoot for the stars. Why not $1 million? Why not? You know, shoot for the stars, and then you start backtracking it. So what is required for you in a day, on a day-to-day basis, to get to that goal? And if you shot for $1 million and you landed with 500,000, you're not going to be mad at me. you know, you're going to be happy. And so whatever that is that you put on that far away goal, you continue to build towards it on a daily, day-to-day basis. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. All right.
Yes,
Sam,
it makes absolute sense. Thank you so much.
And
I
you know
wrote all
these
that down.
you know these things. And what's cool is, you know, you kind of said, I'm listening to you, and then I'm kind of creating this memory in the back of my head. You know, these are not concepts that I invented. And it's just like you said, when you referenced for Deborah, one person will say them one way, another person will say them another way, and it'll land with you at that moment. So, you know these things. It's just triggering something that you already know, you're already on that path. Just believe it, walk the path, and stay on it. Consistency,
Okay.
consistency. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Great to see you. All right, Sam, I'd love to hear from you.
Hello, are you okay?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm very common, so I do apologise. Second time in one of these meetings. First of all, Patricia, I could listen to you all day. You've just got this great way and sense about you, which makes me feel a bit more positive. And a lot of you might have noticed my name already from the Facebook group that my husband made me join the other day. Because I'm asking 10 million questions and probably winding everyone up. So I do apologise. We'll go back to the decision making. I never made this decision. Okay. My husband did. Due to COVID, he lost his business. I am a spiritualist. That's what I do for a living. So all your vision boards and manifestations, I'm fine with that. And he's now said, okay, you've got to do this business. And he's thrown it at me and said, Merry Christmas. Okay, so not my decision. So it's completely different way in the door for me. But I just feel that I'm one of those people. I need to see things, and it's like I'm reading everything and I'm going through everything, and it's great that there's so much there. But to me, I have to ask questions a lot. So if I am annoying you, I do apologise in advance. But this is just the beginning. Okay, there will probably be 10 more million questions to come. Patricia, though, I don't know whether or not you're about your goal. Just have your goal as do not quit. That's 3 words. Just have it as that, and I just think not everyone needs a goal. Just a little saying or something like that will actually help them and be their motivation. If not, I don't know how long you've had your business, but here in the UK, and what I always do with a lot of my clients is the Winston Churchill. And every time Winston Churchill had to make a decision about something, he would write all his negatives and positives about that situation down. And then what he would then do is focus on the biggest area and get rid of it so that he can have more positives coming into his life. So maybe that will help you with your goal, Patricia, but also with your meditations as well. I mean, and there's so many meditations. I'm happy to email you loads that you could go on, different spiritual journeys to meditate. Just give me an inbox and I'd happily help you. But yeah, so from the UK, I apologise if I'm annoying everyone. I won't stop. I will continue because I might look blonde. I act blonde. And hopefully, though, I see the deadline in front of me, but it's just, getting there. So I do apologise, but thank you anyway.
Beautiful, Sam. So first of all, we want to encourage you not to apologize. This is an unapologetic group. We love you exactly the way you are. We accept you exactly the way you are. No need to apologize. I enjoy you speaking, your accent and everything. It's fun for me. Being in Texas, it's a certain way of speaking all the time. So hearing the different accents is fantastic. And I love, I travel the world. And so I love just visiting and listening to the people and learning different languages, of course, as well along the way. So definitely a pleasure to hear you speak. So unapologetic from now on to the future. And I'm happy that, you're willing to share everything with everyone. That's fantastic. We do have, I'll say it, I'll let Jewel speak here for a moment, and then I'll announce the support that we have after this. Jewel, let's hear what you wanted to add to our discussion. We have a couple of minutes left. Oh, you have to unmute yourself, Jewel, and I kind of lowered your hand there. There you go.
Okay, sorry about that. First of all, I'd like to say hi directly to you, Karen, because I think this might be the first time you saw me because I was
Okay.
struggling with the Zoom techniques and so forth. But I want to say to everyone that you made some really good points. Janice, you did, and Deborah, and everyone is just so helpful with the different points of view and suggestions on how to get through all this and to stay strong. And I really, really appreciate the support. I appreciate the positive attitudes. Karen, you're always smiling. That always helps, you know, because it shows that it's not as bad as we might think sometimes. So for all of us to hang in there, stay together, stay motivated, I think 2022 will be a great year. That's all I have to say.
Cool. So great to see you face to face, and so great to there is some background noise, so I think when I speak, so I'm going to mute you right now. And I'm going to say it, Patricia. I know I just said I wanted to let Jewel say it prior. So we do have this support group, which was what Sam was kind of inferring to at the end. I want to help you. I want to send you all these things, and I love that because that is the attitude of this whole group. This, Rachel has set up these calls for us. We have this Zoom call. Adam has his Zoom calls on Tuesdays and Fridays. She set up the Facebook group. She set up all the videos. I mean, she's a master at this whole system. But what our team, what our students have done from the goodness, the kindness of their heart, have set up a support group after this call. And I think that just shows you the magic of this low-hanging system, of this community, that it is real and that everyone is so helpful. So Sammy said it's your second session. Look at you already hopping on, offering your support to Patricia, answering her questions, willing to send out meditations. So I think that is amazing. And so, thank you, Scott. I just saw that comment here. And so after this, what's going to happen is I'm going to end this call. So I'm going to click end for all, and your screen is going to go black. And so what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to use the same link that you used to join this call to begin with. So you've all made it here. You all know what link it is. Go back to the exact same link, click on it, and then you will be re-entered into the same exact room. I will not be here. This call will not be broadcasted live on YouTube. However, you will have students such as Scott, such as Patricia, such as many others here. Sam might join today. We'll see. And I know Mindy wants to take advantage of that. So we'll have a bunch of students here helping out each other. Anne is always super helpful. And so what you'll be able to ask questions. It usually, I think, goes for about 30 minutes or so. And it's just students helping students. So really, really awesome. To Amber too. Yeah, Amber is always here. I didn't see her name here today. So she is here. Amber, you came under the radar. I didn't see you. Is your camera not on today? It might be. Oh, your camera's not on. That's why. All right. Well, we love Amber. She's up in Canada. Always helpful. Thank you all for being here. This was a fantastic discussion. Thank you all for chiming in. And, Scott Kelly, we didn't hear from you today, but we'll look forward to talking to you on Thursday. I saw what who was it that put it in the chat there? Deborah, I think, asked to talk about fear of success versus fear of failure. Definitely a great topic. I will take into consideration to talk about it on Thursday. And thank you all. Have a great rest of your day. Come back into the chat, into the link, in order to find more support. Thank you all for joining.